What do Chris Lord Alge, Andrew Sheps, Manny Marroquin, and Dave Pissato all have in common? Yeah, they're all Grammy Award-winning mix engineers, but that's not the thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about the unfair advantage that they all have and why everything they touch turns to gold. This gold I'm talking about is saturation. By the time any of these incredible engineers get their hands on anything, it was recorded in a multi-million-dollar studio with hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment and tons of very talented people working with that equipment. So by the time these mix engineers get their hands on it, it's already so good. Their entire job is to just not screw it up. Now you're doing everything by yourself. How in the world are we home producers supposed to compete with this? Now, there is a way, but I need to talk about something nerdy really quick to prove a point. Please don't click away. I promise it'll be worth it. This thing I'm talking about is the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule states that 80% of your outcomes come from 20% of the causes, meaning only 20% of what you do leads to 80% of the results. Now, everything in life follows this rule. Don't believe me? 20% of criminals commit 80% of crimes. 20% of drivers cause 80% of all traffic accidents. And it can even go a little bit more skewed than that. 10% of Americans own 84% of all the stocks. And 80% of a great mix is caused by 20% of your effort. So what's this 20% that is making all the difference? That 20% is source sound. Remember earlier when I said that by the time all the pro mix engineers get their hands on the stems, it already sounds so good that their job is to just not screw it up? So by the time these mix engineers get their hands on it, it's already so good. Their entire job is to just not screw it up. These professionals have incredible rooms, incredible gear, but most importantly, incredible people to work with them that know what they're doing when it comes to tracking. Great recording engineers. So how are we supposed to get a great sound at the source if we don't have access to multi-million-dollar studios like the professionals have? And if you do have access to that, please let me know. I'd love to come hang out sometime. I'm kidding. I'm not a fan of analog gear anyway, but that's a conversation in a video for another time. So what matters most above anything else is capturing the performance. And how is this all tying back to the saturation and the magic of saturation that I was talking about earlier? Well, you have access to plugins. You might not have access to analog gear, and I don't think you should have analog gear. I think plugins do such a phenomenal job at emulating the analog sound. And the analog sound is great. It's the hardware I don't like. I love the sound though. So when I'm recording, I like to add an analog channel strip plugin to really emulate the sound of something going through a console. It just gives it some character, and then I add nothing else. My next job is to capture a great performance. Figure out where in the room the mic sounds the best. Where on the cabinet does the mic sound the best? How close do you need to be to the microphone in order to get it to sound its best? I don't want anything else. I don't want any other plugins messing up the sound. And the reason why I add just a little bit of that analog saturation is because I want things to be going through there so that we understand how things are sounding. It does make a little bit of a difference, but what makes the most difference is how you capture that specific performance. Look, if you're using MIDI instruments and things like that, this doesn't matter nearly as much to you. But I think every single one of you is probably recording vocals of some kind. So this is extremely important. Now, this is the 20% that really matters, and it's super boring. But once you do it once, then you can put a little piece of tape on the floor or a little piece of tape on your cabinet, and then you know that if I put my microphone there right next to where I marked the spot with a piece of tape, I know that it's going to sound great every single time. It's like a preset, but like in real life. An in real life preset. I crack myself up. Now, the next thing is to focus on capturing a great performance. Recording a poor performance gets you, well, a poor recording. There's just no way around it. I would rather have a great performance than a meh sounding recording. There's no piece of hardware or plugin that can add soul and energy into a performance. But if there is, let me know. I will literally give you my money. I don't think that's something that'll ever exist. You can't emulate that. I really don't think you can. Now, if you want to know how to set up a microphone properly to capture the best performance possible, click the link in the top of the description, and you can watch my free masterclass hosted by yours truly. It goes into an incredible amount of detail that I would just never be able to get to on YouTube because those videos just would not perform well and you'd never see them in the algorithm. You are welcome in advance. Now, if EQ really freaks you out, you're gonna love this video here. In that video, I go into the 7 mistakes beginners make when using an EQ and how to fix them so that way you're not destroying your mixes. Click on that video there, and I'll see you over there. Now, as always, go create.